buddy. How are you? It is so nice to see you again. I know it's been a minute and I have missed all of your beautiful, shining, completely invisible to me because you're on the other side of a camera faces. It's been a real weird week in Georgia. It's been a real weird week in national politics. Of course, Joe Biden lives to disappoint us. Where is my fucking money, Joe? Where's the money, Joe? Rogelio, actually, if you want to hop on air with me, I was going to talk about you. Let me send you a message real quick. I didn't even know you were available for this. Like 1 second. I'm sending it to you on Twitter, so go ahead and hop on real quick. Beep, boop. Sorry, this is like totally unexpected, but I'm very excited about it because one of the people I wanted to talk about was you, Rogelio. All right. I sent you that link. I'll be here in a second. To give everybody else a quick heads up on what I'm doing, I am just here to check in, to say hey with everybody, to give you all a sense of what we've been doing, you know, on wonks, on the back end, what's been going on in Georgia, the kinds of organizing I've been up to, because I have not been using my time away from the camera to just sit around as much as I would really like to be lazy about it. I have been using my time to try and actually mobilize people towards causes. So I'm going to go over that with you a little bit. I'm going to start out with the news. Of course, we're going to talk about Syria because that's really bad. But then at the end of it, I'm going to kind of wrap it back around and give everybody some calls to action and some things that they can actually do to immediately benefit Georgia and to just sort of benefit the people who live here generally, and sort of some stuff that I am reaching out to y'all for some help with. So first of all, Syria, of course, the Biden administration did drone strikes in response to some rocket bombings of some U.S. Outposts in Syria. The reason, of course, they are bombing us is because they have been asking us very nicely for a very long time to leave and like respect their autonomy and agency as humans who have, you know, their own land and their own right to control the land they live on. We have not been respecting that, of course, because we have economic interests in the region. Our government is run by oil magnates. And so long as that is the case, people are going to continue to occupy that land imperialistically against the consent of the people who live there. And they're going to continue shooting at our soldiers, asking us to leave, if not with their words, with bullets. I'm going to pull Rogelio in real quick since he's got a second. And this will be a little bit of a jump ahead, but one of the things I wanted to talk to everybody about is all of the cool things that we have going on with people running for office. You want to talk about it, Aurelio?
Yeah, let's we'll keep that a little on the hush hush.
Okay, you know nothing about this ostensible campaign that may be happening. But I wanted to hear about, I know there is an election in your district coming up, right? Want to tell me about it a little bit in the abstract?
District 4, Atlanta District,
yeah,
commonly known as the West End, which includes parts of downtown Atlanta all the way over to like almost going on a Campbellton Road and I think some parts of Adair Park and all that. But it's most commonly most famous part is the West End, Oakland City, Sylvan Hills, Venetian Hills, Mosley Park, all that wonderful stuff. So yeah, that's coming up for my district specifically. And so
how wild. And when's that election going to be happening exactly?
November 2nd.
Awesome. So folks, keep an eye out for that. Perhaps there will be some surprises.
Yes.
Around that election.
And I know around that election, but elections across the city, I know surprises are happening. I know Archibong just came out and said she's going for president.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, you have Liliana in D5, which, you know, would be Archibong, you know, they'd be going at it. But we'll see how, I think, in my opinion, it's going to be a very interesting race because you've got this climate activist who wrote Warnock's green policies also in the race, Mandy Mahone. So that's going to be, in my opinion, an interesting race also because it's a district over. So, yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the districts I've been hearing a lot about is actually in Buckhead, which is one of the richer districts. And right now, and this is a weird one, right? Because Mary Norwood is in it, which is about the only way we're ever going to get a Democrat in Buckhead. But I know there's been a big push trying to figure out what to do there as well. So it's going to be a really interesting couple of elections, sort of really see, you know, to what extent this ostensible blue wave is going to like take purchase and maybe actually make some changes. I don't know. I think we're going to have a lot more luck with leftist candidates than liberal candidates, but we'll see. Who knows?
Well, with that said, I think unfortunately Mary's got that on lock. I haven't seen anyone else from the
Yeah.
maybe one other unknown name not come out, but it looks like Mary Norwood has that on lock. Now,
Mm-hmm.
let's look at the bigger picture. If we're able to get a couple more progressives in there, she's in the minority,
Yeah,
which would be great.
absolutely.
So that's
Well,
what we're
and
looking for.
yeah, and given the position of Mary, I wear a Q-shaped tinfoil hat, Norwood, really even just getting a couple of progressives in there would be a massive improvement from the current situation, which is, literally Q conspiracy theorists, of which we need no more in
Yeah,
power.
and not only that, if you look at our city council right now, I know Georgia just flipped blue, and that was huge.
Mm,
But a lot of people think Atlanta is like progressive.
right.
It's if you live here or you've been here long enough, unfortunately, it's sad to say it really isn't.
Yeah. It really is not. Well, and I think that goes actually kind of ties nicely into one of the news points I wanted to bring up. Uh, this week, the Georgia General Assembly, the House, passed a bill. This is HB 286, which basically made it illegal to defund police as a city or as a county by more than 5% annually. And I actually did a little bit of investigative reporting around this one because it made me extremely angry. And I just wanted to run people through some numbers here. So I'm going to read them off real quick. In the year 2000, good old Y2K, the police budget that year was $125,704,601, which is a lot of money, right? Um, but if you jump forward to this year, the total budget for the police department in the city of Atlanta was $239,434,384, which is, give or take, a 200% increase. It's like a 190% increase, and it works out to about 9% a year. So, what this bill is telling people is you're allowed to decrease police funding at half the rate you're allowed to increase it, which to me seems kind of, I don't know, egregious. And adding to sort of the broad outrage and horror I feel about this, it's also worth mentioning that of that police budget, $134,100 came from water and wastewater funds. So this is, lead in our pipes and stuff that we're instead spending on giving lead pipes to people to beat protesters with, I guess. Not
Yeah.
really sure what's going on there. It's not a good look, Atlanta. It's an even worse look if you are, in the Georgia General Assembly and you voted yes on this, which unfortunately included a very large number of Democrats and even Black Democrats,
Yeah,
which seems really
allies.
counterintuitive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And with that said, did you see? I think so. Personally, I think that's going to be taken up to SCOTUS almost if it passes through, because I
Yes.
believe it's
Yes.
unconstitutional. Did you see the other bill they just introduced?
Which one are you thinking of? There's been a couple that are pretty bad.
I'm going through my chat right now, and it is
Mm-hmm.
okay. Here it is. I'm almost on it.
Yeah.
This one I'm not a fan of. I don't think anybody that was part of the uprisings, and even if you were a peaceful protester, whatever you were,
Right. Well, in this case, we do not mean the uprising on the 6th. We mean over the summer when people were protesting on behalf of Black lives.
like behalf of
Yeah. We
So-
really do not want to be conflated with the actual coup mad people who were genuinely trying to obstruct an election. We would never do that.
So here it is. This
Mhm.
afternoon, the Georgia Senate Judiciary Committee is going to hear SB 171, an anti-protest bill. A part of its
Yes.
impact is explained to me. If 50 of us go join a planned protest and one person throws a rock at an officer, everyone can be charged with a felony. My
Yes.
God. Talk
Well,
about-
and this is something, yeah. So here's this seems like, oh yeah, maybe it's a good idea. It'll discourage people from doing stuff like this. Here's the thing. Our protests are frequently infiltrated by plainclothes officers who do things like instigate fights themselves. They will show up. They're obviously police because of their haircuts, their body types, and the clothes they're wearing. Also, the fact that those people couldn't fake caring about another human if they had a gun to their head. And they show up and start fights. They pick fights.
We
So
see the
what we
photos
inevitably
and the
see,
wire and all that. Yeah.
right, right. And the thing is, once they have authority to arrest us, they have authority to brutalize us. And this happens over and over and over again, right? We hear these stories. People die during arrests. As a matter of course, it is horrifying. The entire structure of the bill is flagrantly unconstitutional. It serves literally no other purpose than to silence dissent, strip us of our First Amendment right to protest. It is also quite literally a war crime to try people and punish them as groups. Like, every single part of this is morally and legally abhorrent and indefensible. But of course, we are going to have to roll the dice with SCOTUS if we cannot rely upon these people who, as of this week, have been letting us down massively by standing with police officers.
Now, I agree with everything you just said, and I do have to hop off the call, but I will end with this. And from learning from union organizers that I was on the ground with during the runoffs, when they're using all these oppression tactics, that means you're winning. That means you're brewing something that is working. So the more oppression takes, the more they see you as a serious threat. So I just want to leave whoever's listening to just hear what I just said and analyze it in your head. Because it's true throughout history. During the civil rights movement, they were using oppressive tactics like crazy, and that's because the movement was growing. And so,
absolutely.
That's what I'll leave you with. I do have to hop off. Thank you for having me.
Honestly, it was so great to see you for a minute. I was very pleasant surprise.
Yes. So I will be in touch, and
absolutely.
You can always hit me up when you need anything.
Of course. And we love you. You're a very good friend of the show, and there's nothing to look forward to from you this year for sure, probably.
Well, we'll see Monday what goes down.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll keep an eye on you on Monday and see what's going on. Watching. I'll be refreshing your Twitter feed constantly.
There you go. All right, take care, Rachel. Love you.
All right, thanks. I love you. Mwah. Always happy to call you my comrade. Till next time.
Bye.
And that was so great. Everybody, how exciting was that? We got a visit from Rogelio, who I actually was going to be talking about anyway, as people who've been working deeply in elections in Georgia. Obviously, we are still pretty mad. The organizers who hit the pavement and canvassed for, John Ossoff, Reverend Warnock, we're still given a little bit of leeway too. But John Ossoff, we're looking at you. You promised us $2,000. You're already walking it back. That's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. You can't do this again if you don't have us on your side. And so bringing it kind of back around to, I guess, the organizing conversation, one of the things that we have been really focused on organizing is also schools reopening. We have been seeing a big push nationally to reopen schools. This is, of course, coming from the top down, with Joe Biden at the top, trying to pressure people to reopen schools, trying to get these vaccines rolled out, and really ultimately trying to get the money flowing again. This is always about getting parents back up to productivity so that we can maximize on our, oh no, my phone is dying, but that's okay because I have a backup. Let me Oh no, I lost my feed from my phone, but the good news is I have a backup, so I can keep talking to you here. So we have this giant set of politicians on the right side, or on the right wing, who are trying very desperately to get the economy up and running again, which means we have to get kids back into schools. The problem, of course, is that teachers are going to die because of this. And in a lot of states, in Georgia in particular, one of the concerns teachers have is that they are not being given adequate PPE. And if they try to leave, if they leave in the middle of the year, if they're not able to get the kinds of accommodations they need, if they happen to be, for example, immunocompromised, live with immunocompromised people, perhaps be pregnant, which is a life-threatening condition even when there isn't a deadly plague going on,
these teachers are correctly outraged and very deeply concerned for their safety. So one of the things we have been trying to do in Georgia, and I have been organizing, is actually trying to rally around teachers a little bit. It's a very interesting situation because in the state of Georgia, and unfortunately this is sort of metastasizing to other states in the union, it is explicitly illegal for teachers to engage in collective bargaining. We are no longer the only state in the union to have a law like this, thanks to West Virginia passing a similar law in a retaliatory capacity to punish teachers for their wildcat strikes over the last couple of years. However, that does not mean, as we know, strikes can't happen, right? Because wildcat strikes do exist. One of the big problems we face as organizers around that, of course, is that teachers are very resistant to this idea. And that is because they have so much on the line. So we know teachers pay from their wages into a pension fund, which is where all of their retirement money comes from, where their healthcare comes from after they retire, and basically where all of their security is sort of held hostage should you become blacklisted by the state, and should you lose your accreditation, should you lose your credentials, and should you be cut off from those resources that you have been paying your money into. They are understandably very hesitant to do anything that compromises that security. So one of the things that we are sort of working on right now is just getting to know teachers, figuring out what ways we can help, and trying to really spread the word that this legislation on the books is fundamentally anti-labor. It is dangerous for teachers. It is basically in violation of a lot of existing laws that, we can take it to the courts, but at the end of the day, nothing is going to be more effective than actually winning elections, winning teachers, and building up our capacity to actually say no and bargain collectively in spite of the laws preventing teachers from doing so. We'll kind of see how that goes. I'm pretty optimistic that we'll be able to eventually do something to help teachers out, even if it's just rallying around them to provide them with PPE, which of course the wildly underfunded public education system is unable to provide for them. Hopefully that will at least be inroads into forming a stronger coalition with teachers who, as far as I'm concerned, are one of the most powerful economic engines in the state, and probably in the country, given how much of the population relies on them directly for childcare, and how many businesses and especially corporations are directly or indirectly reliant upon the public education system for their employees' availability and for their profits. We proverbially have them by the balls. I would like to see us use that power somehow. Another thing I'm working on in the background, I'm getting together with some people to pick back up on the Macon State prison abolition project I was working on this time last year. It kind of got wrapped up and buried under the summer uprisings and, God, everything else that went wrong after that. But we are bringing that project back to the forefront. We are back in communication with the Macon State inmates. I am getting in contact with some other organizers who specialize in prison abolition work and in inmate rights and inmate justice work. And we're going to see what we can do to get conditions better for them, to get them, at the very least, adequate sanitation supplies, adequate PPE, and adequate, time outside. And most importantly, one of the things I really, really would like to see stop is I would like to completely abolish the practice of tear gassing inmates inside buildings. This is, for obvious reasons, deeply unethical. It is also literally a war crime should you do it in a time of war. I do not understand how anyone can justify, quote unquote criminal or otherwise tear gassing people inside. These are human beings who have asthma, who have other disabilities. Some of them are elderly. Some of them have recently survived COVID even, and none of them can escape because they are quite literally locked in cages. And just like the kids at the border, we should get them out of the cages, but in the meantime, at the very least, we can stop tear gassing them, which is something I would really like to see. And so lastly, my call of action for everybody, or call to action for everybody, specifically that bill I was talking about earlier, the one that is going to make it way more difficult for us to defund the police. they are not really expecting it to stand up in courts. They're pretty much expecting it to get voted down, and it seems to be a short-term cash grab, which actually, like, logistically is about the same in terms of how difficult it will make it for people on the right side of history to defund police, but also just, like, morally speaking, somehow it's worse. It's worse that they're doing it cynically. That's, you know, my take on it. As far as I'm concerned, it is equally logistically difficult for us, but morally speaking, like, at least they could have been doing it out of some kind of genuine support of the police. Like, at least if they were true believers, I would think that they were, you know, stupid and not cynical, which is what they clearly are. So if you would like to help me do something about that, I'm about to put this up on the screen. Here's everybody you need to talk to, you know, yell at them and just tell them, like, hey, I am from, I don't know, Cumming, which is in Forsyth County. Gwinnett County is a big one. If you want to, like, lean into Atlanta, we have DeKalb County, Fulton County, Cobb County. There's Rockdale County, although if you're calling a Republican, they're not going to care about you from there. You could say you're from Butts County. That's another fun one. We've got so many fun places, so many different places you can say you're from if you don't happen to actually be from Georgia. And you can just call the people and say whatever. And if you are a Georgia citizen, you definitely should be calling. These are the folks who are in charge. You see, we've got here Jeff Duncan. He's the lieutenant governor. You can harass him. You can harass Butch Miller. Mostly, I want to really lean into Mike Dugan there. That's the Senate Majority Leader, and he's going to be one of the people deciding whether they even vote on this bill. I would love to see this bill not get voted on in the least. And you can just call them and say, you know, some of the stuff I told you, right? We have increased the police budget 200% in the last 20 years. That is 9% a year. We need to, at the very least, be able to decrease police funding at the same rate we increased it and dial it back if we realize we've gone too far, which I think anybody who has been really watching what police officers have been doing, the people they have been killing, the danger they have posed to the community, is acutely aware. And that is something you can do right now that will tangibly and immediately help save lives. So go ahead and give them a call. Thank you for sticking with us. If you want to know sort of the cool walk stuff we have going on in the background, of course, Kennedy is still working with Grav on Sentai Truther Club. I am still working with Paul and with Corey on Gay Space Communism. Those are Sentai Truther Club is coming out. Gay Space Communism, we're going to be premiering our first season pretty soon, and we're really excited about that. Of course, on the mainstream, we have Post Tech Radio, which comes out today on Fridays at 3 o'clock or noon Pacific time. We have Psychic Dolphin Garage playing Minecraft Monday on Wednesdays. Pretty soon here, we are going to be coming back with more exciting content for you. We've been lining up some people that we want to interview. We've been trying to figure out what we can do to expand what we're doing for you. We've been trying to figure out how we can pre-record it more because honestly, y'all, recording live 3 times a week is a lot of work. If you happen to be like a turbo nerd like me who loves doing research and you're interested in like sort of helping us out with that, reach out to me. You can shoot me a DM. That is my handle right there on Twitter. It's also my handle on Facebook. It is also my handle on Google if you want to send me an email. I would love to hear from you. We are always looking for people who would be down to do like research and sort of help us out with that because it is so time consuming and it gets really hard to do all of the research and the booking and all of the other stuff we have to do to make this work. And then also, you know, try to do organizing and really help people in the meantime. It's a lot. So if you ever want to get involved with the show or if you want to get involved with organizing, my DMs stay open for exactly that purpose. I would love to hear from you. And otherwise, just, you know, keep your eyes on the channel. We will be coming back. We have not forgotten you. We have been having meetings, even if you haven't been seeing them in real time like you're used to. And we love you. We love this work. We're really grateful to be here. And we're really looking forward to coming back with new content on the regular to just absolutely blow your minds. So thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody who commented. It's so great to hear from you. always feel free to reach out to me, reach out to us if you would like to give us some money so that perhaps we could even pay somebody to do research for us. You can go to patreon.com/notsafe, and that will of course support Not Safe for Wonks. It will also support everybody else who comes out on this amazing network that includes Post Tech Radio and Psychic Dolphin Garage with their Minecraft Mondays. That includes Rara's show, which has a new co-host now, Hot Girl Agenda. That includes Aaron from the Trillbillies, you might know him. He is releasing a show called A Time of Monsters on our network, and we just have so many cool things going on that we are always so happy to share with you and work on. And honestly, we're kind of talking about maybe moving into some directions that aren't strictly news reporting and are just sort of more entertainment purposes. So like, if that speaks to you, definitely throw us some cash, because that's where it gets like real expensive. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you dearly. I hope you're all doing well. I can't wait to hear from you. Can't wait to see you again. We'll be back soon. And that's all I got for you for now. I went solo on this one, so I guess I'm gonna have to be branded for myself and just say bye-bye. Maybe I'll tell you